Good morning, welcome to another video on the channel. Today we're speaking about the Vittoria Terreno zero gravel tyres that I'm currently running on my 650B wheels at 47mm. Although don't let 47mm on the side of the tyre fool you, these do not come up at 47mm. So it's the late May bank holiday and I've been spending a lot of time on road wheels, so I thought today I'd get the 650s back on, take myself up to the Somerset levels, get the Mason Boker back where it belongs. The roads out to the droves are roads, they're very smoothish tarmac, typical sort of British roads I suppose. I don't know why I said they were smooth, they're not really that smooth at all, are they? They're going to be broken, and especially the way I try and pick out my routes on these wheels, I always take the back roads. It's probably about 15 miles of riding before we hit our first really good drove, which you wouldn't get a car down there, you might get a tractor down it, but it's pretty rutted and it lasts for a couple of miles actually, so it's a really nice track to take a bike like this down. When I got this bike it came fitted with the WTB Ventures, which I used on that bike packing trip into Wales, and they were absolutely brilliant for that. I have to say, I didn't puncture. They do come up at a true 47mm width, and as I hinted towards at the beginning of this video, I put the digital calipers on these and they're coming up at 51.7mm, so almost 5mm wider, and that translates to just over 2 inches of tyre. So plenty of plushness. But what about the tread pattern? Well, Vittoria designed these with quite a smooth centre tread area. It's actually based around the Vittoria Corsa, their fast road tyre. And then for sort of grip and bite on the shoulders of the tyre, they've introduced this, it's described as a fish scale tread. If you've got a penchant for rubbing tyres, if you were to rub this tyre in one direction, it feels relatively smooth on the shoulders, but reverse your rub and you'll see how much grip these tyres could produce with that fish scale effect. So as with all tyres of this type and design purpose, they're relatively heavy, north of 500 grams. They went on tubulously really easily on these Hunt 650B alloy wheels. I've gone across to using Stan's race sealant from the muck-off that I was using. Just seem to have a bit better success with this, although I haven't punctured these yet, so we'll see how that goes as and when I do. But they definitely feel a lot faster on road than the Ventures, and that was quite important to me because I have to travel for gravel. Whether I'd want to take this on that same Welsh bike packing trip that I did last year on the Ventures, I don't know, because there's so much coarse flint and gravel on that route. I don't know how the smoother centre tread would manage it. But on the roads I'm probably losing 2 to 3 miles per hour average over my nicer set of deep carbon rims and thinner tyres, which you would hope that would be the case, I suppose. But clearly what you gain with these is the ability to head far off-road and go and have some fun on them, so it's a different type of riding experience. Pressure I think is absolutely key on a tyre like this. They're rated at 35 to 70 psi. I can't imagine who would want to ride them at 70 psi. I tend to ride them at 40. That's slightly too hard when the going gets really rough, and I like to drop it down a bit. And if I was going to do a bike packing trip on smooth tarmac with these, I'd probably get it up closer to 45, maybe 50, but 70? No. Right, we're almost at our first bit of cycleway, which I have done on 35mm tyres, so these are a bit of overkill for it, but it's a nice warm up ready for the droves. I'll see if I can get some footage down there. There you go, opening gates and stuff. That's not something you have to do on a road bike generally, is it? But if you want to get onto these cycle paths and gravel, that's what we have to do. And this one looks pretty good. I've made it to the first of the gravel droves then, and to be more accurate on my guess earlier where I said I think it was about 17 miles to get here, it's actually just shy of 14. And where the tyres have not seen anywhere near their full potential on the road up until this point, they're probably about to be taken a little bit beyond. This is a great drove, but it's really rutted. There's some massive craters in it, and this is where these gravel bikes are so good, you know, because I've been in my road racing position, if you like, you know, arms bent, loads of efficiency on the flats, not much noise coming up from the tyres, to get to places like this. And then it can handle this sort of terrain, albeit a little bit more slowly perhaps than the mountain bike would have done it. I don't know how I'm going to get on with filming some of this terrain, because it is that crater that I might bounce the camera out my hand, which would be pretty disappointing. But I'll see what I can capture for you guys, and perhaps we'll have a quick stop on the way down and have a look at these tyres a bit closer up. You do have to pick your line a lot more carefully on a gravel bike. I think that's what makes gravel biking so much more fun. You know, it's more engaging. You can't just switch off and plunder on down this road, letting the suspension do all the work. You have to move the bike, pick your lines. Right, I've hunkered down out the wind, taking a quick breather at the end of what is quite a long gravel section. Last time I came down here, I think it was pretty wet. A lot of those craters were full of water and it had really been dug out, so it wasn't all that pleasurable on a gravel bike. But today, absolutely perfect. Gave me a really good opportunity to give these tyres a good run out, and I have to say the comfort has been brilliant. I really thought I had these set up at 40 psi this morning and they've been quite nice on the road. I thought perhaps they wouldn't give me enough comfort off-road, but couldn't be further from the truth actually. It seems the harder the hits, the more they've absorbed. They've been really nice. They're definitely more comfortable than the Ventures I had on before, but that could be purely down to the fact they're almost 5mm wider. They're faster on road, which is what I wanted, because I do a lot of on road to get to my gravel sections. I don't know about their durability yet, but they're quite a weighty, thick tyre, so despite their suppleness, I think they'll be okay on the durability side. Somebody asked me about these on Instagram for Audax. I've never done an Audax, so I can't really speak. 200k on these tyres would certainly be comfortable. I don't know if you'd get fed up with the slight lack of efficiency. It might be overkill for a lot of Audax routes. But I know that Vittoria do these in a 700, I think by 38, 37, something around that width. That would probably be the tyre to go for if you wanted this for an Audax ride, I think. I know that if you go up to the, this one's the 0, if you go to the dry, those fish scale tread pattern moves into the centre, and then you get bigger side knobs, and then I think they've got the mix version above that, which is for wetter conditions. Ben Delaney used the dry version of these on a very wet and muddy ride and said they were absolutely brilliant. They had just enough grip to maintain grip in the wet, but not so much grip that they were clogging up massively in what was a real sort of mud slash clay environment. So yeah, I'd recommend these tyres on 650Bs. I'll weigh in on another video about why I think 650Bs are the way forward for this sort of width tyre. I'm not a big fan of massive tyres on 700C wheels, but I'll leave that for another time. If you've got any questions about these tyres, then please do leave a message in the comments, like the video if you've enjoyed the content, and think about subscribing to the channel as I hopefully push more content out in the near future. Cheers.